Hey folks, it's September the 29th, and today we're going over our subchapters 33 and 34, which is over the Northmen, Scandinavia, and the Vikings. And the terms on the board are Scandinavia, voyages, history, and culture. These are very broad introductory subchapters. I'm giving the folks in class a bit of time to go over their readings for a moment. Then they're going to discuss the terms, and then we'll discuss it as a class. So just please be patient. I brought your table with you. Thank you, sir. Oh, as a reminder, everybody, our quiz will be on Thursday over the 3 Quizlet sets. One's over 24, 25. The other's over 26, 27. And the last is 28, 29. We're going to go over these terms tomorrow on the second half of class. Does anybody need more time in their chapter? No. All right. Hey. All right, folks. So Scandinavia, voyages, history, and culture. So we only got 4 terms this time. So we're gonna do like. Okay, cool. So, all right. So we're gonna do it like this. You 3 guys, 1, 2, 3. I want y'all to answer the first one on Scandinavia. It has to do with people there and the geography. So, you, Zoe, I want y'all to do their voyages. Why did they do their voyages, and where did they go? All right. So, you 2 guys and Hunter, the history. So the history is broad. How did they pass down their history? Remember, there's a thing about their burials and stuff like that. And there's like their mythology. And so you 2 get to do the last one, culture. So tell us a little bit about their culture. I'll give you a few minutes to decide that. Not an hour. All right, timer starting.
Okay, we're doing history.
Yeah. a family member.
So they basically invent a lot of things like ribs, polished bronze. This is the
And-
first
and
shot.
it's-
Oh, it's
No,
His
it's the
body
first
parts.
shot. Yeah, it's the first shot.
basically it's all right.
Then it's all like,
Find a ring, nail, besides gold and silver
and then
ornaments.
the Viking comes up, hits it first.
They basically invent a lot.
It's like, it's like, you know what? Now Viking has to hold the bow and
Like he's like aiming it for him.
finally.
Yeah, about a minute and a half.
So.
Oh, 30 seconds.
I just gave you a whole list of all things.
All right, that is for time here. Let me show you the images for today, and then we'll get our notes on the board. So, what?
You can say a lot.
All right, so here, let's go at it. All right, so what we see here, these are different groups of people through different time periods in what's known as the Teutonic movements. And Teutonic is another word for Germanic people, speaking people. And you notice they're all coming from the east. So there you have it. So a lot of these people do, of course, come from like the Russian steppes, Eastern Europe, places like that. They start coming as early as the Roman Empire. They're pushing out the old Celtic people and the old Romans. Many of them are also moving up north towards Scandinavia and then eventually into places like Great Britain. And as they move, they displace the people that were there before. Very common thing in human features. If you ever perhaps like studied Native American history, you'd see that that was common here in the Americas as well, North and South America. So this, however, this migration is also going to lead certain people later on in history, like Nazi historians, to believe that that they all used to be unified under something called the Aryans, and like which actually is kind of like a mythical thing that they made up. So this is going to kind of lead to that idea as well. So here we have Scandinavia. We have Norway, Sweden, Finland, and of course little Denmark down there. And so this is where the Northmen are kind of going to originate from after the migration. And we're going to start moving on, of course, to other places, like I said, like Ireland, England, Iceland, Greenland, a little bit of America, and stuff like that. They were, it's culture that's very early on going to be good at bronze working and then iron working and working with steel. A lot of their steel swords, there's not a lot of iron deposits in that part of the world, but there are a lot of meteorite deposits deposits. They would get their iron from meteors. They called it star metal. This is a bronze sword that's dating back to almost 3000 BC. So this sword's almost 5,000 years old. So it's got like a weird little squiggly at the tip. Here's a couple more. Ancient swords, these are at least 3,000 years old. So the Norse, they did not have a lot in the way of craftsmanship, but what they did have, they expected it to be a very high quality and to be very ornamental, right? Like they liked it to be pretty. Here's a Bronze Age sculpture where even though it looks like a simple cave drawing, you can see these folks were already, this is a boat, already like very good sailors even during this time. So this looks like something you see like in a caveman do almost, or like an aborigine. Wow. They had adopted and modified some of the Greek alphabet for runes, which early on the Norse did not have a written language. However, different runes could be different symbols for different messages. They would leave a rune down to just try to send at least one broad message, right? So here you have like partnership, separation, defense, opening, stuff like that. And so they would leave these on rune stones, which would be like markers that either on the side of the road, or sometimes they believed that these runes would hold special properties for things like protection, stuff like that. And they would try to keep this on their person. Here's just some exploration that's going to come later during and after the time of Charlemagne. And you see they go up to Iceland, Greenland, and all the way up here to Vinland over modern day Canada. And you'll see too, their boats are not only good for going across the ocean, they're also good for going up and down rivers. So they go down the Rhine, the Danube, all these other rivers. So they're like trading and traveling all throughout. And Milkagard, remember that's their word for Constantinople or Byzantium. They were extensive traders. They would often raid Christian villages and take them down to places like Spain to sell them to the Moors there. So they were into that. Of course, they were also hired themselves out as bodyguards and as mercenaries. They, of course, also traded with people from different parts of the known world, so that they amassed wealth just like any other trader. The Muslims in Spain were on good terms with them, even though they were considered idolaters, because they were such good tradesmen. So there's so much profit to be had. Famous Viking funerals for kings. There's two methods. One is, of course, where they're placed on a boat with all their possessions, and even sometimes with their wife, even if she was still alive, and burnt at sea. Other times as well, they would be buried in a boat, like a great ship, along with their possessions as well. Like this boat was taken from a Viking grave for a king, and it was still intact, and they were able to preserve it and put it back up in a museum. So this is a very big, long boat. So you see, it's a pretty small bottom, so it could go up and down rivers in shallow water. Vikings often tended to be buried the poorer ones. Their grave sites to be marked with rocks in the shape of a boat. They loved themselves some boats. A lot of excavations show that the Vikings, the warriors were not only all men. There's a lot of excavations where they would find women buried with swords and things like that as well. And we know that too they had kings, but they also had what you would call kind of like what's the name of it? They had something called, it was called a thing, like, and a thing for the Norse was when the city would get together and vote on something. So it was kind of like a city council, and everybody, men and women, got to vote. It'd be something like whether to go to war, whether to trade with certain people, stuff like that. Oh, so, all right. All right. So it's a little bit about them. They're going to have a big impact on Europe. For many people, it's going to be a horrible impact, but then they're going to wind up integrating into European society. Yes.
I was gonna ask if we can go back to the cave drawing. I have a question.
Cave drawing. All right. Yeah.
What is that? Is that a person that's like elongated?
Looks like somebody doing a backflip. It could be like a festival or something. You see, you got a couple of guys up there shaking around. I don't know. They got like 4 arms and horns and
What do we do with your phone?
I don't know. Yeah, but it looks like somebody's doing a backflip, or maybe it's like a or like a spirit, or I don't know. I can't say. It's funky. We'll just agree it is a mystery. Agree to disagree. Man, now there's a phrase. All right. Sir, my Scandinavian people. What's the deal with this one? What did we find out? Yes.
So they settled in Scandinavia and
What area was that?
Huh?
What area is Scandinavia?
What is it? I did this it was near Southern Europe. At least that's what I think it is.
What?
I was like Sweden and stuff like that.
North.
Yeah, Northern Europe. Like the tippy tip top. So Northern Europe. Yeah, you're right. Sweden, any other countries?
Norway.
Yeah, Sweden. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to have this at the beginning. And anywhere else?
Denmark.
Denmark, little bitty Denmark. Something's rotten there. All right. So hey, I'm sorry. What else were you saying?
They also invented a lot of things such as grave mounds, fine polished stone, bronze swords, iron rings, gold, silver ornaments, mail. Oh no, wait, iron ring mail.
Good. And that's something we're going to put down here in culture. No, it's cool. It's cool. I'm glad
Basically,
you
just
got
say
that.
they invented a lot of things.
Well, they had it. I don't know if it goes as far as saying invented, but yeah, they had a lot of things. So, but here's my question for you guys. So, but y'all are good. That's good. So we have where they're at. What are some of like the characteristics of the area geography wise?
Farms.
They had some farmland. Yeah.
Flat surface of rocks.
Yeah, lots of rocky soil. But what did a lot of them tend to do because there was a lot of it around them?
Sail.
There's a lot of ocean. Lots of coastline. Yeah. Good. So yeah, because of that, the geography pushes them out to the sea. So it's kind of like the geography in like Saudi Arabia and Arabia pushed people out to be caravaneers, right? They're getting caravans going from one water source to another, and they're trading. Whereas here, it's the geography shaping them into being sailors and all that good stuff. So good. But yeah, you'll have some other good points. We want to put that in some of our other stuff. Now, doing good. What about voyages? My voyagers.
At first, it's read out as like merchants, and then I realized voyaging is really fun.
Yeah, so merchants mostly. But what was more fun? Plunder?
Yeah.
Yeah, so plunder as in Viking was very profitable, especially when you find that all these folks, like in their monasteries, have all this gold and stuff and all of this like food, and nobody's even protecting it. Yeah, and you said fun, so that's going to go under the culture thing. Because yeah, they love to fight, right? So it's like wrestling and practicing swordsmanship, stuff like that. That's going to be a big pastime when they're wintered in and they're stuck in their little huts covered in snow. So good stuff, good stuff. And of course, yeah, like we said, they're going to sail across the ocean and up and down rivers. They're going to go through places that people don't expect. They'll be very good at it. They'll be very good at it. All of them are trained in order to how to sail very well, navigate by the stars, and even build a boat if they have to. Now, history. How did they pass along their history?
Will they have something called, how do you say it? Sagas?
Yeah, sagas. So yeah, they didn't really write that much, but eventually will write down the sagas. So pass down their stories and culture. And of course they had bards who would essentially, like through these sagas, these poems, to simple music, would pass down these stories, kind of like ancient Homer and all that stuff did back in the Greek days. And sagas, a word we still use today. So in sagas, anything else that we would think of, Hunter? Anything else?
They sent when someone died, they sent the people on boats in the sea and then they burned them.
Okay, yeah. So that's something else we could put in a culture. So they had for their burial practices. So yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna be it. It's oral history passed down through sagas. Oral history eventually written down. And of course, think about the stories of like Beowulf and stuff like that. Like that could be a good example. Because here you have an oral story passed down from generations, not one author. It's passed down. Eventually, they collect these stories and write it down, and you have Beowulf. And that's a typical kind of story of these people. A lot of bravery, superhuman feats, defending the mead hall because they love their mead halls. That's a big part of their culture. Being the honorable king, having taking care of your friends and things like that. So yeah, definitely part of it. All right, so culture. What's up, culture friends? They already said some things about culture for you.
Burning of the dead bodies on the bus.
Okay, yeah. So
Did you say bugs?
kings
What was it? Was it bugs?
Yeah, they burned them.
often
I'm not going off of
buried at sea in a burning boat. So yeah, I mean, and so this is a very expensive thing. These ships were like the most expensive things they could have and create. So something else.
They love poems and they love fighting.
Yeah, they love themselves some poetic fighting. Yeah. Fights. Yeah, definitely our drinking culture.
It said they love clothing. And ornaments, kind of.
Need, yeah, they love
The
ornaments.
characteristics of like the Northman count as like culture. 'Cause, like,
Yeah, sure.
It's like a list of poems. It says like a strong sense of public order.
Yeah, they were very, they were very mindful of like, the rules and traditions. Like I said, like it was kind of a democratic society in many ways. And when you're a democratic society, everybody tries to know the rules better because y'all got skin in the game. So. Okay. Anything else? Sounds good to y'all? But yeah, so keep these things in mind as like tomorrow and say like Friday, we start going through these things and start thinking about this. Now, on Thursday, we're not going to go out of the book. We're going to go out of the book a little bit. Tomorrow, I want to talk about just the next chapter. And then we're going to go over our vocabulary terms. Thursday, we're going to have a quiz, and I'm going to have a little primary source thing I'm going to give you after the quiz, but it's only two pages, one front, one back. If you're online, I'll post that for you online through Google Classroom on Thursday. And there you have it. All right, kids, it's going to end our class today. Make sure you study those terms in Google Classroom. See you later.